Taking time out to truly value and prioritize your marriage is extremely important. This is a great step. Watching this video will help give you some tips from Christian sex therapists that will definitely help improve your marriage and your marriage bed. Keep watching. Hey online family, on this channel we talk about all things faith, hope, and intimacy. I'm Amanda, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and also a certified Christian sex therapist.
And I'm Pastor Andrew.
If you're interested in growing your faith, practical help through life's messiness, and ultimately living the life God created you for, then please subscribe and also make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. The following 7 tips come from my favorite, Dr. Clifford and Joyce Penner, and their little book, What Every Wife Wants Her Husband to Know About Sex. I'll link it down below in the comments if you want to get one.
Number 1. Men are sexually simpler than women. Men are like a stick-shift Chevy pickup, reliable, predictable, but often not too exciting. Women are like a Maserati, exhilarating when they're running, but often in need of fine-tuning. That quote, it is so true. Guys, let's face it, you could just as easily have said, men are like wind-up monkeys, just waiting to bang their cymbals together. And women, you guys are so complex, it literally makes our heads explode sometimes. But in truth, it's that complexity with that dependability that makes relationships so much fun.
We can easily let our differences be conflict and tension and really a problem, or we can embrace each other. We can embrace those differences, and that actually makes things more exciting and interesting. A wife is validated by her husband's sexual interest if that is expressed through connection and affirmation rather than pursuit or expression of need. If my husband is super needy and putting pressure on me, that's not attractive, and unfortunately, he's not going to get what he was hoping for. But if you are coming through with much more of a complimentary and showing appreciation and connection, that's going to go so much better. And that's really the case for most women.
And guys, if all your wife thinks is that you want her body, that's not going to go well at all. Women need to feel cherished. Number 3, the man must understand, recognize, and respect the woman's hormonal fluctuations. When I get to heaven, I'm going to have the big guy explain this one to me. Of course, I'm kidding. Women's hormones are a real pain. Are real. You have to learn how to plan around them.
So this is really important, guys. Hormones are for real. They're not made up. Your wife is not making things up in her head. They are legit. Also, if they really are a real problem, you may want to go to the doctor and get a hormone panel, and they'll be able to check and see, and there may be something they can do to help you if necessary. The anticipation of planned sexual times together builds quality. The allotment of those times together increases quantity. I know a lot of people think that planning sexual times together, or really just physical pleasuring times together, is really makes you lose your spontaneity. And I get it, that makes sense. But at the same time, for married couples who get extremely busy, especially if you're a mom of little people, a lot of times the woman really doesn't have sex on her mind nearly as often as the husband. Again, that's not the case for everyone, but the majority, that's really the case.
That's true.
And if you actually plan times and set aside times, this allows the wife to really put a priority on sex. It actually allows you to think about sex on purpose and actually becomes more something that you actually can look forward to. Also, it's great to plan times together that include physical touch, but it doesn't have a demand on it to have intercourse or arousal or release be the outcome.
That's
but
good.
just a time that you can be together without the pressure. So in this, you want to be able to kind of talk to each other, plan some times together, schedule it. You also want to see maybe who will initiate, so on. So if you have someone who's going to cancel as well, it's also helpful if you let your spouse know with perhaps a reschedule for another time that will work for you.
Taking time to plan it as well gives a lot more time for anticipation and for time for creativity and time for husbands to surprise our spouses. Number 5, for the husband to love his wife as Christ loved the church, he offers himself, but he allows her total freedom to offer herself and to receive his body and the pleasure he has to give her. Men, I read this quote as such. The husband puts himself out there. He offers himself to his wife. But the wife has to have the freedom of whether or not she chooses to engage in whatever it is the husband is suggesting. And honestly, it may not be the best time for her. And there could be a number of different reasons. It could be chemical, it could be emotional, something physical could happen. She may have just had a bad day. We don't know unless we really put ourselves out there and are vulnerable enough to listen to her, and whether or not she responds is completely up to her. And if we don't get what we want or what we're desiring at the moment, we can't pout about it.
No temper tantrums. Pleasurable, playful touching doesn't always need to lead to intercourse. A lot of my clients actually avoid touch, especially my ladies, of any kind because they're afraid it's going to lead to sex. They feel like if they engage in any type of touching that their husband's going to expect sex, which is really unfortunate because a lot of times they're going to avoid touching at all, which the husband and wife would both really like if they were able to communicate better and be able to allow touch that doesn't have to lead to sex. You do not have to be turned on before you initiate sex. Often this mostly applies to the women, so you don't actually have to experience desire to initiate sex. You can actually make a conscious choice, but again, that's only if it's something that's not negative and something that you are willing or wanting to participate in. A lot of times women's desire is actually reciprocal. So you may not actually have desire all on your own, which is more like the men, but sometimes after beginning to engage in sexual touch, especially stuff that you have agreed to, you're making that choice, it's not a duty, then that is something that actually can help increase desire for you. Women are just different than men. If at any time you start having negative feelings, make sure that you stop. This is not something to continue. You want to be able to think and reevaluate, is there anything I would enjoy? And then try to go in that direction. Let your partner know, I'm not interested in this right now, but I would be interested in trying this instead. So as long as you take responsibility and you're able to say, these things are negative, you're going to be able to focus more on the positive. And in the end, this is going to help improve your lovemaking as a whole. We hope this video helped, and if you have any questions, please leave us a comment down below.
And check out my video next week. I'm going to talk about one of the most important proverbs on sex.
It's a fun one.
Also, while you're waiting, check out our other video, Christian Sex Tips.
And if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. And as always, subscribe for more weekly influential encouragement and inspiration. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Bye. For the husband to love his wife as Christ. Number 5. For the husband to... Men, although we are available however and whenever, we could go right now. That doesn't mean...
I'm still laughing. My whole face is a big...
Yeah, I'm doing this for the blooper reel.
Stop.